address a comment that a few of you posted in one form or another after my last video where I discussed the claims that Dr. Peter McCullogh has made regarding practicing physicians and health practitioners and their approach to early treatment for COVID-19, and the claim that they are not really doing anything significant to decrease the risk of hospitalization and more severe disease. And the comments go something like this. Dr. Gili, have you published anything in the field of COVID? And if you haven't, you are not qualified to issue these opinions and sometimes criticisms of others like Peter McCullogh, who have published extensively in the field. And so the idea is that as a practicing physician, unless I published, and some of the commenters even said, have you published more than him? If you haven't, then you are really not qualified to give opinions about his research and his claims. The idea is that unless I published, and preferably more than him in the field, or anybody else for that matter, we as healthcare practitioners have no business in issuing opinions, in making comments about his claims. So I wanted to discuss this for a couple of minutes here. And the way I want to put this, and one of the persons that commented more extensively in this area is a gentleman by the name of Jerry H. Freeman. He has a YouTube channel that's pretty interesting, and I actually subscribe to it. And Jerry, if you watch this, please understand I'm not picking on you. I use your comment just to make a point, to illustrate this thing. It looks like you are a wonderful gentleman, and I really enjoyed watching your videos about playing the whistle, and it seems like you are very much into music, and you seem to be pretty knowledgeable in that field. And my wife is a musician too, and even though I don't play any instruments, I do appreciate music. I enjoy watching you play those penny whistles and so forth, and I enjoy watching and listening to my wife play the piano and the organ, and I enjoy classical music. I listen a lot in my free time when I want to relax, when I want to clarify my mind. I go all the way from the Palestrina, from Bach and Handel, from Beethoven, Mozart, all the way to the Romantics and even contemporary musicians. And so this is something that I really enjoy doing. And so I want to use your comments in your field of expertise and my passion for music to illustrate the point I'm trying to make. And that is, while it's nice to be able to play an instrument or more, and I wish I had put in the work when I was younger and I had more time to do so, it does not prevent me as an amateur, as a lover of music. I'm an amateur in terms of playing instruments. I can barely play a tune if you listen to me on any instruments for that matter. But I consider myself quite knowledgeable in terms of music history and appreciating styles. And when I was young, I was even pretty good at giving me a couple of measures from Beethoven, and I could tell you exactly what the work was that those measures came from. No bragging here. What I'm just trying to say is that if you spend enough time in a field and become familiar with what's going on there, and you enjoy doing that, you get to know that field. And I consider myself an educated music lover, classical music and pre-classical music lover. Again, I'm no expert in playing any instruments, but I can appreciate and I can sense the depth and the beauty and the value, even for my own health and others, of good music. In the same manner, let's say Jerry is a great penny whistle player. Does he have to know you don't have to know how those whistles are made. You just have to know what a good whistle is and how it sounds like, and you can play it. Give you another example. If you are into sports, and somebody says you have a sports commentator or a sport analyst, and they comment on how Lionel Messi plays and what he's done and so forth. Is it required for that sports commentator or analyst to have been a better player than Messi, or at least to have played at his level in order to comment on his performance, on his skills, on his achievements and maybe occasional blunders. No, he just needs to be educated in the field, know the rules of the game, have been commented and watched and seen enough of those games or matches to be able to know what a good player is and what a bad player is. And they can make valid comments. You can agree or disagree with them. But again, one does not, I mean, it's nice if they are, of course, but I don't think you can find many sports commentators or analysts that have played in their life at the level or above Lionel Messi's level. I hope you see what I'm trying to say here. So in the same manner, as a practicing physician, either myself or anybody else for that matter who's in the field of medicine and has gone through the proper training in medical school and after that, and even before, does not have to be published in the field of COVID at least as much as Dr. Peter McCullogh or even or above him in order to issue opinions, in order to look at what he's saying and make a determination, does this make sense? Does this reflect good practices when it comes to making claims about studies regarding treatments and their efficacy in early COVID or not? And my contention is that while it's nice to be at his level or above in terms of research and publishing in the field, one does not have to do that in order to analyze what he's doing. And the reason for that is in medical school or even before, in order for somebody to become a doctor or even a healthcare professional like a nurse practitioner, we go through extensive training when it comes to statistics, when it comes to analyzing research studies in the field of medicine and health in general. I remember when I was in residency for 3 years, we used to have most mornings what is called a morning report for an hour we would do various activities. But one of the main activities, educational activities in that morning report involved analyzing one or more current research studies in the field of medicine and going over the strengths and weaknesses of that particular study as a way of training us doctors for later in life, like these times we live now, when you see, as Jerry says, sometimes hundreds of studies about hydroxychloroquine and its purported benefits. But my contention is when you sit and analyze the methodology, the quality of those studies, if you know what to look for, and if you know what a good study is and what a not so good study is, you realize that, unfortunately, in most studies where there is what appears to be a clear benefit, you discover significant methodological flaws and problems in those studies. And therefore, the conclusion is weak or is not valid. And likewise, as I said in my previous video, the better the studies are, whether it's sample size or methodology or using control groups and so forth, the less or no benefit you see. And so this is what I'm talking about here. So again, I hope you understand that my purpose here is not to trash Peter McCullogh, Dr. McCullogh, or anybody like him. My purpose here is simply, and I see this as a community service really, my endeavor here is to try to analyze and educate and help you guys to the extent that you find this helpful. See through my lens how I view these things. You are free to agree with me or you are free to disagree, and I appreciate vigorous comments here. And Jerry, I was busy the last couple of days, and so I apologize for not approving your comments. I wanted to wait until I made this video and then post them. They are there, they are approved, except for the one where you said you posted 800 and some studies, links to studies to Peter McCullogh. I have not seen that comment come in the inbox. I think YouTube may have blocked it, and I apologize for that. If you want to repost it and it shows, I'll be happy to let it show up. and it would actually be educational. If you guys have a study, and I posted that challenge to somebody else who said, hey, what about the so many studies of hydroxychloroquine that show a benefit? How about that? And I said, listen, I don't have the time, unfortunately, to sit and analyze every single one of them, but pick your best from that group. And I say that in all honesty. Look at the best that you think is out there, post it, send it to me, put it in a comment, and we can look at it together and see what its strengths and weaknesses are, and why, in case I am of the opinion that it's not a good study, that I say that. And so, again, I appreciate you guys being present and commenting and spending the time to do so. I realize we cannot be all on the same page all the time, but discussion, frank, open discussion based on facts, based on good science, is what we want to do here. And to the extent that you guys are willing to make that journey with me, I really appreciate it, and I'm inspired and humbled by that. Until next time, I wish you stay healthy and stay strong and stay wise. Thank you.